Every old village has a story. Every dark road has a name for what walks it. In Northumberland, those stories are slipping away. Northumberland Haunted Museum is a community project to catch them before they're lost. Back us on Crowdfunder today. Your support will help keep the stories alive for generations to come.
Turn off the lights, settle in, and prepare to journey into the After Dark archives.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Shell Spooky Stories, the After Dark archives. Today we're doing things slightly different. I'm actually going to hand the reins over to Tom. Tom is actually going to interview me.
And what? so why are we doing that then, Michelle? What's the rationale behind this madness then?
Well, it's because I am trying to open Northumberland's Haunted Museum. An absolute passion project of mine, and I have a feeling it will probably be my life's work, because it already feels a bit like that. Yeah. But it's something that I am really passionate about. It's something that I'm really working towards at the moment, and I think it'll be a good opportunity to maybe explain a bit more about it so that people understand more about it, see where I'm coming from, the passion behind it, the purpose behind it, and all of that jazz, really.
And I think it's really exciting, isn't it? Because we were, probably about a year ago, I remember you talking to me about this idea that had started to form into something a bit more serious. So probably for everyone listening and watching, let's take it back right to the start. First of all, what is this museum? Tell me in talk to me as though I was 6 years old and didn't know the first thing.
So it's not like your normal museum. Yeah. It will have an aspect of what you would find at a normal museum, but it's slightly different. I think the best way for me to kind of explain it is to share my visualization. So I visualize it as you walking through the spooky doors. It will have a very nice Victorian kind of Gothic feel on the outside. You walk through the doors and you're opened into this community space with a long table full of different sort of files and artifacts. You can sit there, you can read all the stuff. You can, I'm putting a binder together that's got all the artifacts that we've already got and a little bit of information about them. We're doing a project that I'm going to put some information about that out. It's going to have around the walls those typical museum displays where you can read about Chillingham Castle, Alnwick Vampire, all those amazing stories that need to be preserved for history purposes. The stories that they don't necessarily tell you unless you go a ghost walk or something at these places. I want to have some local stories from people that have actually experienced things to preserve those memories. Part of the project that we're going to be doing is called Whispers of a Lifetime, which is going into speaking to care homes, speaking to people who are part of Age UK, Dementia UK and things like that locally to preserve their stories before, unfortunately, these people can't tell the stories any longer or pass away, because once they're gone, they're gone. We've all got these amazing stories, but if we don't write them down or capture them in any way, they just disappear when we do. And that's kind of how it all came about, really. The upstairs is going to be the slightly freakier side, because we can rope it off for normal visitors that won't want to experience that. But upstairs will be where we've got all our haunted artifacts, like the dolls, the Ouija boards, the dark stuff that, not necessarily everyone's going to want to be around, because let's face it, dolls and clowns aren't everyone's cup of tea, are they?
The terror room.
Yeah, the terror room. And then I imagine a proper Victorian seance room. Where we can really delve into the whole Victorian spiritualism side. We can do table tipping, we can do seances, we can learn about how to correctly use a Ouija board. we can have like I can't remember what they used to call it, but it's basically a room where you sit and it's kind of cornered off. They usually do it in like cupboards nowadays if you go somewhere.
Yes.
Because they're so perfect.
Nicer than a cupboard, though. Nicer
it'll be
yes.
nice and decorated and lovely.
Yeah.
But you sit with like a mirror and then a candle, and then you've got a mirror behind you.
Yes,
like a sanatorium or something like that. I can't remember.
Yes.
Word.
Yeah, that's ringing. Yeah, that's ringing all sorts of bells. I too cannot remember the name of it.
Yeah, and I do have a weird obsession at the moment with Victorian death. Like how they go about the death process.
It's fascinating.
It is. They used to really like celebrate it. Probably in a really dark mourning period, because I think the Victorians were quite miserable people all round.
But I think it was we're already massively off track anyway. But I think there's so actually it's so okay. I'll do this the proper way. So that's a really interesting point. I think that ties into a wider understanding and sort of purpose this space, this museum is. So I'm going to reflect back some of the things you've spoken to me about. So this is a community space.
Yeah. This
is a place for stories to be preserved. It's a place where people can. So it has a sort of a folk archive value to it. It's not just so okay. So if we have these, it's not a tourist attraction in the same way, say somewhere like the Dracula experience is in
Whitby.
Whitby. we're at the other end of the spooky spectrum here. This is actually this is treating the stories and the history of it in a way that is, I guess, respectful, but also all about interested inquiry. And I really, really liked that vision when you set it out for me, both previously and now. This idea, this is a project that sits in the community, that's as much about storytelling and making sure stories live on as it is about the wonderful, weird and freaky stuff that kind of that can sit in a space like this. And I think I can't think of many places that do this kind of job. I think there's a real need for something that's for a group of dedicated people to go out and collect and archive the stories that people tell, because we've talked about this many times, that truth that when you're out doing your investigations, you will find, you say you have these random conversations with people and they go, what you're doing, I'm hearing a ghost and I'm doing a paranormal investigation. And they'll go, oh, I once saw X, Y, Z. Everybody's got those stories, but people don't tell them, do they?
No, exactly. And a lot of the time they're like skeptical people as well. And they're like, oh, yeah. Ghosts, right? Oh, well, actually, when I was younger, and you're like, but I think it's important. I mean, the whole presence of Shell Spooky Stories is like every haunting has a heartbeat, whether it be that person telling the story or the person that's passed. They used to be a person, they used to do a job. We've got I collected an artifact the other day, which is from I'm trying to think of the words that I could use that wouldn't shut us down on YouTube. An incident that a gentleman was no longer.
Yes. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yes.
And it's 5 of the crime scene pictures, but it's a local case. And I got it because you wouldn't see that often for a local place. But what I'm doing with the historians is we're not only looking into the actual thing that took place on that day, we want to know who was this man before all of this happened. What was he doing? What made him get to this stage? Because he is more than that incident. He's like a whole lifetime before he got to there. So it's things like that, and working out why items are haunted. what?
Yes.
Why do these spirits suddenly think like, oh, that's a pretty doll, I'll go sit in that and cause some havoc for the rest of, all time. But also taking these items that maybe people inherit and things start going weird in their house and they don't really want them. Working out why that's happening, and helping these people and everything.
Yeah,
and got arms and legs.
yeah. I like the ethos. I like the kind of grounding principles of it, and I think the sort of the dressing and the style of it all is, it sounds really, really fun as well. And I think actually sort of having a space where people can come and explore, whether you are a believer or not, I think it's sort of one of these, a space that could be a really, will be a really valuable space within the community. And I could see this becoming a much loved feature of the local community as well. I think having these spaces within a local area that do something interesting both locally and nationally is really exciting. And I think the truth is, these places do not just build themselves. You have to have people who are passionate and motivated like yourself to do this, and of course you've got to have the cash to do it as well. And it will be no surprise to anybody that actually setting up a museum and getting a collection going and making sure it's all set up in the correct ways with all the right permits and all the right insurances and all that kind of stuff, it's not cheap. And so you've set up a crowdfunder to do this and do it right as well, really importantly. Do you want to tell me about that?
Yeah, so I fully admit that when I had this idea come together, I probably was like, did my typical ADHD thing and thought that it would happen overnight and it would be easy breezy and, the money would just appear from some magic pot at the end of a rainbow.
Yeah.
But that's not the case, funny enough. It really isn't. And I even thought, with funding, you put in a funding application, they read it and go like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Give you the money. It's not that easy. So I have put in for different funds, but they're all for different aspects and stages of the museum. And I didn't realise when I first started this out that I probably do need to break it down into certain areas. I started off looking at places to occupy, but they need like 6 months in advance rent because you're a new business. But we've done it as a community interest company, which means we're not for profit. So any money that we get does go back into the museum to obviously make it last, to pay staff and all the rest of it. But I think with the crowdfunder, I've set a large target, which I am actually going to sit down and, work out whether it does actually need to be that large anymore, because we're having to do it in stages. The main stage we're at now is kind of doing it as a pop-up version to show that it is viable. So that when we then look for a premises or get offered a premises, either way, we've got that model that we've shown, for 6 months has brought an income, has worked. We've now got volunteers, we've got people, doing it and all the rest of it. So it's basically the crowdfunder came about because it's a community project. I want it to be about the community, and I want the community to also get involved in it. I don't want it to just be like my baby. It's not a business that I'm starting to obviously become a millionaire and then bugger off to some island somewhere. It's something that I want to outlive me and, be there for like years and years to come. And I want people to utilise it. So I thought, if I do a crowdfunder, that helps me tell people what I'm doing. It helps people understand the sort of passion behind it. They can get involved. They get rewards for obviously helping us out. So people are, getting something from it as well. And we've done it so that basically at the moment it's paying for sort of us getting some artefacts together, some paranormal equipment so that we can start doing paranormal investigations around the country, not the country, the county. We can then get things like event material. We can then start paying for like some local village halls or something to go round. I did say the other day that it'd be great if we could get a like Scooby van, but
just thinking that
like a Scooby Doo van.
You need a mystery machine.
Yeah,
you need a mystery machine
to brand it up and
I like it.
Go round to these, because there's going to be people, especially in Northumberland, that are miles away that can't necessarily get on a bus to come to us.
Yeah.
So we do want to have that outreach where we can go to a local community hall, go into schools and tell them like folklore history.
I love it. Yes,
all those kind of things that we can actually like get out into the community, because I think that's really important. But also, eventually, we do want a hub where we can actually put everything. At the moment, I'm also trying to get some storage, because my house is becoming also not only like there's stuff everywhere, and poor Sarah's garage has also got stuff everywhere, but it's also becoming very haunted because of the stuff that we have in our house.
Yes. Is there a critical mass of haunted dolls where it just becomes too much, and it all goes horribly wrong? Yes.
Well, when we have how many haunted dolls? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we've got about 7 in our collection at the moment.
It feels like about 7 too many haunted dolls in your house for my liking.
Yeah. Luckily, they're not all in my house at the moment, thankfully.
Yes.
Most of them are in Sarah's garage.
Lucky Sarah.
And she said, face down in a bag. So I imagine they're really happy.
Yeah.
We do have 2 that are out with other investigators. No, 3 that are out with other investigators who are working with them and finding out, the backstory and everything. But that's having that storage will allow us to then have room to then get more artifacts, because at the moment we're stuck at a stage where we can't get any more because we've got nowhere to put stuff. But then if we go to a pop-up with what we've got, it will look very sparse and people will be like, well, there's not really a lot here.
No. It needs to be, it's got to fit. I get exactly what you're saying, and it's that wanting it to feel like a rich experience for when people are engaging with it, because I think people, telling those stories through artifacts and helping people, bringing people's stories out of them, through artifacts is a really nice way to do it. And actually, so funny enough, actually, over the years I've been involved this is probably back in the sort of 2000, late 2000s, so sort of from 2007 to about 2020, probably about 2011. We used to do a lot of community arts projects when I was sort of first starting out, and those kind of community storytelling projects are always really interesting, because like you say, you'll get people turn up and they'll sort of hang back a little bit, and then you'll sort of see them nudging forward, and you can tell they've got a story they want to tell you, and all of a sudden they'll sit down and they'll go, well, and something really, really interesting will kind of flow forth, and you'll end up with some really beautiful local history archive stuff. And I think those are the sort of things that can get really lost between the cracks. I think it either becomes people hold back because they're worried about people laughing at them or ridiculing them if they're telling things that feel very very real experiences they've had, but they sound to other people sound pretty far-fetched. It can be very difficult. Those are the kind of stories that get lost, and I think but they're such a sort of we look back at the way storytelling was used in the past, and you do wonder sort of in modern times, if people are unwilling to tell stories like that, does the folklore of an area always stay stuck in the past, and how does so I see this as a way to sort of get interesting local tales out of people. And you may find there's interesting corroborations where people's stories start to sort of mesh up,
coincide with one another. That's the thing, like on the website I want to have a sort of experience map. So we have a big map of Northumberland, and then people can put in their experiences, and it kind of grow over time. And then people that are visiting places can go on there and see like whether there's any spots that they can go to. I've made a load of PDFs that families can like download, that they are like I Spies in their different areas, so that they can it's like $4.99, which I think is quite reasonable for a day's entertainment for a family.
Love it.
You can do it over and over again. You can explore different areas. It's basically I Spy with a spooky side to it. It's like, can you find a lantern outside a shop? Can you find like a feather that has no body attached to it type thing? That isn't one of them, but I was just thinking off the top of my head. All these little things. Can you see a cat in a window or a black cat in the window? Just to like make it a bit interesting, and it's another way that we can obviously make some money for the museum. So I'm just trying like all these different ideas. I've got, me, Tom, I'm an ideas person. So they do get a bit out of control at times, but I'm just trying to like rein them in.
You're preaching to the choir on this.
Yeah, I know. But I think from like a personal point of view, in respect of the stories, I was actually thinking about this the other day, that my granddad, I remember my 18th birthday, all the boys at my party disappeared. And I was like, where are they? Like, what's going on? And I walked through to the bar area, and my granddad was sat there telling them war stories, and they were all sat around listening to him. They're like, your granddad's such a fascinating man. Did you know he did this? Did you know he did that? And obviously I was 18 at the time, so I was like, yeah, I've heard it like a million times. But if I could listen to a recording now or read something about that story that was told by him, that would mean so much to me. And my mum, she started to lose her memory at like 60. She died of dementia at 66, which is no age at all, really. And I just think like all the stories she used to tell, if only we could have captured some of them, and that we can like listen to. So I think for like families as well, if we could collate all these stories and put them into a book, that family can then buy that book, or they could have a copy of the stories from the care home that this person's in, or something like that, so that it's something that they can keep and cherish.
And it's such a personal mission, and I really love that. And I think your sort of passion for it shines through, and I think this is something that I can really see people getting a lot from and enjoying greatly, as well as sort of, like you say, helping to support and build a legacy that helps both people as individuals, but also I think is actually quite good for the soul of the community as well.
I think so.
If you can get people connecting to an area through its history and its lore and its kind of the way it feels, I think people feel much more sort of connected to places if they feel like, if they can feel the fabric of the history. I think that's good. So if somebody did have like a spare $1 million down their back pocket and wanted to come and donate it to you, where would we go?
Well, we're all over at the moment. TikTok. People on TikTok have been so supportive about it. I get a lot of messages like, I'm there. When can I come? Where are you? We haven't got anywhere yet. But if you go on TikTok, you can actually join the newsletter where I update people behind the scenes of what's going on. We've got it's Northumberland Haunted Museum on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. We've got a Facebook community group which is called Northumberland Haunted Museum. So we're pretty much there, really. You can find us all over. Come ask me questions, and we have Crowdfunder. The Crowdfunder link is all over social media as well, but that is on Crowdfunder, and you just search Northumberland Haunted Museum.
We'll put links
will
and
pop up.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah,
all
in the
links
description.
below. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yes.
So if there's any millionaires that have a spooky side and would like to get on board, I'm happy to be business partners.
Yes. Well, actually, I've got I need to track it down. I have a book which I will donate to the museum. It's a book on it's a 19th century, late 19th century spiritualism book about how to conduct a seance and how to work with spirits.
What I'd like to know, Tom, is why I'm only just hearing about this.
Because it's funny. I literally just the other day I was thinking, somewhere in this ridiculous collection of books that's both downstairs and upstairs, there is lurking. It's very sort of slim little green canvas backed book. I picked up from Hay on Wye, probably about 25 years ago, and it's just sat on the shelf. I mean, I've always had an interest in the weird and wonderful, and it's one of those bits of bits of ephemera that I really liked. But it's actually a really lovely book, and I think quite an unusual piece. So yes, I will donate that to the collection.
Well, thank you. And if anyone else has anything weird that they want to donate, that's like, in your attic, giving you some vibes,
that's it. I mean,
pass it on.
You've got to the stage where it's not going to take that much more before you will have your own haunted doll football team. So
yeah. Well, funny enough that we do have someone who, once we have an actual premises, has about 100 dolls to give us. So
that is going to create a room that is going to be.
So we may have the largest haunted doll collection possibly in the world. Well, actually not the world, because you've got that island that's literally full of haunted dolls in Mexico,
but is that a collection or just a sort of accretion? Has somebody gone out and deliberately? But either way, I mean, it's
weird.
That's a strong no thank you from me.
I'm not sure that we're ever going to actually be able to employ a cleaner. I think we might have to do it all ourselves, because I don't think anyone would want to. They'd be like, no, not today. I've not paid enough for this.
That room is staying dirty.
Yeah. But then if you get some cobwebs, it might actually help with the decor.
I was going to say, it's sort of that dusty wizard's study vibe. No, I think this all sounds really, really good. And I think look, no one is ever going to pretend that getting these things over the finish line is an easy job, and but you've got the passion and you've got the enthusiasm and the dedication and the knowledge and the expertise to do this and do this really, really well. And I think it's a really, really great project, and I think people should be rightly excited about it. And you're close to crossing the 1,000 mark, aren't you? I think. Or have you
we're
done
at 890.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So that's great. Yeah. Yes. I mean, these things are always sort of they're always a marathon, aren't they?
Yeah.
But yeah,
definitely.
You're doing great work. Is there anything else you want to get into?
I'm just trying to think. I've got honestly so much going through my brain at the moment with this.
Yeah.
I mean, if anyone locally knows of a building that we could maybe utilise, I know that I've got a couple of people I know further down south who have got sort of haunted buildings that they do ghost investigations in, and a couple of those are community interest projects. But they're kind of like the building has like another purpose during the day, and then they use it sort of night times and weekends. If anything like that people know of, that would be fine. I think that's it really. It's just it's all a slow progress, but I'm trying to move as much forward as I can with what I've got at the moment. Funding pending, all of that, it all takes time, so we've just got to kind of do what we can at the moment and just see where it takes us.
Well, my brain is fizzing with ideas, and I've got
Yeah.
So I think people can feel, there's all sorts of opportunities. I think for people to sort of get involved and support you both, even if it's just getting the word out there, sharing the posts, getting things that kind of stuff doesn't cost a penny, but it actually makes a big
helps
difference.
Loads.
Yeah,
because I've had through people sharing stuff.
Yes.
I've had people message me because they've got magazines that they want to do articles. They want interviews for stuff. I've had people offer to be volunteers through people sharing. All of that stuff. It all really helps. And also, if the Scooby-Doo gang do want to give us a mystery van, that would be fine.
Yeah, you need to, and I was trying to think what would be a sort of, although I suppose with your other hat on, it really should be a spooky electric vehicle, shouldn't it?
It should, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it will be a lot faster as well.
It would be a lot faster. A lot less polluting.
Which helps.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, we are about clean energy.
Absolutely. Good.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Well, I think that probably is as good a place as any to round things up. So yeah, I would strongly recommend people to check all the links out below and go and support and share and do whatever you can to help this amazing project on its way.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everyone.
My pleasure.
I'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining me on this journey into the unknown on Shell's After Dark archives. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a story that sends chills down your spine. I'd love to hear about your own paranormal experiences, so drop a comment or send me a message. Your story might even be featured in a future episode, and if you're loving the show, please leave a like and share it with your fellow seekers of the supernatural. For those who want even more exclusive content, behind-the-scenes insights, and bonus episodes, join the membership. You'll find the link in the description below. Your support keeps the lights off and the stories coming. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and keep exploring the shadows. See you in the archives, after dark.